And that summer feeling, it's so wonderful and warm. Breathe me in, breathe me out.
All right. It is May 13th. It is 6:31. Hopefully everyone's feeling well. Take a look at the disclosure. All right. Good morning, my dogs. How's everybody feeling out there? It's 6:31. It's Monday. It is a new week. We got a lot going on. Hopefully everyone's feeling well. Had a great Mother's Day and enjoyed themselves. That's what we do on the weekends, right? We feed the brain, we get a little fitness in, we get prepared so we could connect the X's and O's and make a little bit of money. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to the 630 Club, where we try and go over the narratives of the week, what we're looking at, where we're at in the overall tape on a daily, weekly, monthly level. Try and go over some ideas to generate some cash flow. And we chill out and talk about our process. And here's my little iced coffee that I get at my Dunkin' Donuts, as I've already did some reps in the sauna, the ice barrel, and we're ready to roll. So here we are. Let me say good morning to some of my dogs. We already got like a bunch of people coming in. We got It's Rising and Grinding. Good morning, Don. What up, Sully? What up, Investing Perspective? How you like my energy? Well, get in an ice barrel, get a little, moving around, and you'll feel nice and limber. What up, Blair? We got Ryan in the house. We got Yipa, Ali Hassan, and Be Well from Austin. So let's get to it. So let's take a look at the chart of the SPYs. All right, so let's look at it without, no, it's not the one. Let's see where we can get a nice big version of it. So here are the SPYs. Wow, just like that, right? If you guys remember this wide range bearish engulfing bar that gave us some clues to take some risk down, and then we had this break right here around April 15th, and then boom, that was your low April 19th. That was about 5.5% off the highs. If you do remember, we did buy the Blood in the Street account. So if those of you who only mimic my Blood in the Street account in your IRA, 401k, whatever, you did pretty well. That hasn't been touched. Went to work. As far as actively for a living, there's been a lot of things to do, right? You had your first move up into the descending trend line. And then this was a very important day. That was the day after the Fed. That was the day after people deemed Powell a little less hawkish, where some people are like, oh, they're going to raise rates. Obviously, we're not raising rates this year. Just the question is, are we going to have one or two cuts? So that's why there's going to be a very big focus on the PPI and CPI this week, because that measures inflation. We need lighter PPI and CPI to probably extend this move that we've had. So where are we right now? Remember we had this 4-day, big beeline move up here, got above, nice gap, did never fill it. And then we hit 522.63 on Friday. They sold us down a little bit. I didn't love the action on Friday. Friday, I didn't have a good day, and I was pretty damn long, and I was a little upset, but I'm over it. It's a new week. So we'll see what happens here. Do we get some inside action today? I would think that's what probably happened. SPYs are up $1 right now. We're at 521.85, a little bit below 522.63. Maybe we digest right here. So the question is, how do you want to position a little bit for the week? Because the PPI is at 830, the CPI is at 830. So sometimes you get these really fast moves that are hard to trade. If it comes in hot, we're going to probably sell down a little bit after the size of the move that we've had. If we come in light, chances are they're going to push us above this 524.64, which is the high of the year. So we'll see what happens today. I'm really not positioned for a move above that, except for obviously 401k, 520, all those things. But trading wise, I'm coming in with a few things going on. So we'll see. I'm thinking about maybe buying like the 526s for Wednesday and maybe Thursday, just in case we are light and they want to push and it's going to be hard to buy things. I'll obviously have some options on and some positions that we've been working. But anyway, so we'll see where we are later today. The Qs are participating also. The Qs had a move up towards 444.30. This is the high. But, a lot of people like Red Dog, if you really take a look at the Qs, by the way, this was another wedge that we gapped above, giving you a nice price. Then you had a little bit of a bull flag, and then we sold down a little bit, but look how extended we were. So all in all, though, if you look where we are, we've been in this channel in tech since March. So March, April, May, so 3-4 months. So if we were to continue, it would be interesting. So anyway, with that being said, we'll see how that goes. So what am I focused on? My biggest position coming in today, thank goodness, is Microsoft. Microsoft has their AI today. If you remember on Friday when everything sold down, it was one of the few things that did not sell down that wasn't a little predatory. So anyways, I'm long a lot of Microsoft, long some options. I actually just trimmed some as we speak because I always, doesn't matter what's going on, I always trim a little bit into some upside. So Microsoft's up 4. It's in this zone. So I'm gonna keep some Microsoft, and I'm also gonna keep some calls on for this week. I might trim a little bit just because that's what I do. But Microsoft is acting well. Apple, some people like Red Dog. Apple is a little choppy, but it's still holding this 180 level. Friday wasn't easy, unfortunately. They had to bring us in like $2-3 before coming back up. But overall, Apple is still acting better, from a post earnings standpoint. So if you are in a swing trade versus 180, then congratulations. And then we'll see at some point, does it get above this 184.66 to 187 to continue? Now, there's a lot of different type of AI news out on Apple, and everyone's debating it. But overall, you can't debate the price action. If it gets above 184.66 and holds it today, then you have 187, and there's a chance that this little sequence above 180 holds. And if you're an investor in Apple, just stay the course. You're probably making a lot of money. You've been there for a decade or two. Congratulations. If you're a trader, though, it hasn't done a whole hell of a lot. You look at the Apple Daily and the weekly, all last week was an inside week. So you had to push up to 187. Remember, we made really good money on those calls for earnings. And now, the more we go inside, and then if we take out 187, then you have this whole quadrant back up to 198, 199 ahead of the WWDC. So, that could be something to continue with. What else for the week? Listen, I will say last week was not an easy week trading Nvidia. Between ARM was lower, and then all of a sudden you had Taiwan Semiconductor was higher. Overall, Nvidia didn't do a whole lot of anything. But if you look here at Nvidia, it's still giving you some tight action, right? It's still giving you this bull type flag. So here's the all-time high of 974. Nvidia doesn't come out with earnings this week. It comes out next week. So the question is there going to be a pre-earnings move back into this quadrant before earnings on what is that next week, which is what's May 22nd? Anybody want to tell me what May 22nd is? I'm not sure the day of the week, but anyway, I'll look at it. So what I might do is, because again, this week is going to be very gappy based on PPI and CPI, I might go out and buy some 925 calls just to have on, just in case it's tricky to trade. Because for me, I would not want to miss a nice move, a nice trade above this 912, 922 to get into this spot. And then you have 974 prior to earnings. So that's something just thinking out loud. So it's that Wednesday. So if it has a pre-earnings move, you want to be involved prior, and then maybe if it happens, then you could all of a sudden make a call spread. So I think Nvidia will be interesting. Last week wasn't the easiest trading. Even Friday, they gunned this to above 912, and then all of a sudden, if you bought a dip, it turned into a bigger dip, and it was a pain in the what on Friday. Baba on the move. Baba's been acting better. Baba has earnings. Okay, Baba really hasn't done a whole hell of a lot. Baba, what's it called? You have 82 as an area. You had a quick beeline move off of the lows. It's reporting on when is it reporting? It's reporting soon. I think Tuesday morning. So where's Baba this morning? Baba is up 3. So it's already above that. So to me, it's not like price for nothing. There are some expectations here. It is acting better. You look at the weekly chart, which I haven't looked at in a while because I've been avoiding these Chinese names. Besides, hey, look. Actually, if you look at this, if it really wants to continue, there's room up to like 115. I don't know if it happens post earnings, but so if you think you missed a move in Baba, that's all we are on the weekly basis. So if you want to play it, just be careful. It's a Chinese name, and May 13th, actually May 14th. So I would just do options, do like a call spread, maybe by the 85s, by 90s. There is a gap up here that could get filled too. Actually, if you look at this, there's a gap here. So if we wanted to really have some kind of move, then potentially, that would be a spot that it can get to if you're playing that kind of thing. Micron target upgraded again. What do I think of that chart? Micron seems to be a chosen one. I haven't looked at this in a little bit. I've been more focused on like a Nvidia and some of those guys. If you look here, Micron protected this gap, so it showed a lot of strength and momentum, which was right here. You then have a tight bullish type flag, so it was in the game last week. So there was definitely some strength there. So it's good to see that after a move lower like it did, it rebuilt pretty fast. So I would say, yeah, I'd say Micron's in the game. At this point, here's your high, 130.50. It's above this spot. That's how you kind of do some of these charts real fast. It's up 3. Actually, no, that's Baba. Hold on. Micron is up 85 cents, 122. This is what? 121.85. So hopefully, if you're a Micron, if it's part of your go-to list, that you are already in a little bit, because otherwise then you have to make sure it gets above and stays above this 122 on its way to 130.54. Not bad. A lot of people are like, what about Avago, AVGO? This also has been going sideways for a while. It's in the game. Some guys are long versus 12.28, and now it seems like it's on its way back to 14.03, 14.38. So there's a lot of like vehicles for the market to move up with. So if the PPI and CPI come in light, there's definitely some things that'll keep it. Like the banks have been strong, small caps are participating, buys a little bit better. So there's a lot of things going on. I see a lot of people talking about GME. All right, big deal, GME. There was a trade there. Okay, yeah. So if you are one that likes to trade names that have a big day one and go, well, here is your day one that led to a day two. Then all of a sudden you had a bull flag. You got a little loose and wide. What's GME doing today? I haven't really been looking here. It's up 3, up 20. So listen, if you're going to trade the meme names and the names that trade the big volume and maybe look for some follow through or whatever, then you do that. I like to have my arsenal of stocks. I trade mega cap tech. I trade the AI semis. I trade some of the sectors. I've been trading gold and silver. I've been trading a lot of these things. If you just trade the volume and the names like this, you just got to be careful. So, there was some picture on the internet, the people that are in GME land looking at. So some people are like, well, if that's the case, AMC used to move with GME. AMC, just has crushed everybody. AMC is up a whole 16 cents. You need like 10 times the average volume for this thing to do something. And the bottom line is, this stock has been absolutely annihilated. So if you adjust for all the splits, look where AMC was, 400. And this was in 2000. This is talking about 3 years ago. Now it's at 3, which also shows you cannot buy dips. You cannot catch a falling knife. If you average down in anything that's not giving you reasons to, it could blow up everything. And this blew up a lot of things. It was technically, a great stock for a little while, obviously, and then that was it. So anyway, if you think that the meme game is going to wake up, well, I don't even know where this was last week. I think, maybe it's got to get above like this 330-ish area or something. But unless I see a huge volume, I'm not going near that. As far as Google, back to like real stocks, Google was hard. I lost money in Google on Friday, and thank goodness, I guess I sold it because, I was playing Google for it to, get above and stay above this area and continue. And then it was down like $3 while the market was up, and I just got stopped out. And this morning, I looked before, it was down a bunch. It's down 3, so thank goodness. Thank goodness I added to Microsoft and got out of Google. Otherwise, I'd be a little annoyed on a Monday morning, and it's tough to be a little annoyed on a Monday morning. Anyway, so this is down 3. The low here is 166, so it's a little bit below. Tomorrow is the event. So there's talk that Apple is going with Chat GBT versus Baird or whatever the hell their thing is called. But anyway, I guess see what happens here today. It's still had great earnings, has the buyback, has it did whatever it is, it held here. So if you're long versus 162, which is the gap pivot, you don't care. If you were a little bit tighter like I was, you got stopped out. So see what happens there today. What's going on with the weight loss drugs, weight loss stocks? Not a whole lot. So this is what I did with Lilly, because the stock is it's not a great stock to trade. It just isn't. Every now and then you get a really nice move. So for me, I'm like, you know what? What would I not want to miss in Lilly? Well, you have a really big channel, right? It's been in this channel since February, going sideways, consolidating a great move. If you remember, to start the year for Lilly was a power play for us. We bought it at 587. The last time it had a really tight pattern here, and then it gave us really great action. So I made a lot of money there. So did the alpha team, and so did the power play. So what I did is I went out and I just bought $810 calls a month from now. Because if this is going to go, it's probably going to have a 30, 40 point day, and it's going to be on some kind of news, and they have some kind of event that everyone was telling me on, I think, June 10th. So I bought the June 14 calls. Other than that, I feel like I'm not going to trade it, but there is a big enough channel and it is a leader that I'm like, let me buy some calls. So sometimes I do it that way. I still like, as far as some of my concept plays, I still like URA, even though it got a little loose and wide. Overall, this is uranium. Uranium, I think, is going to be a better alternative energy. That's nuclear energy, et cetera, et cetera. Still above the 8-day. It's had a move. It couldn't have enough strength to get above 3250. So it's just hanging in here. What's really exciting about it is really the weekly and monthly chart. Like, look at this monthly chart. You have a cup and handle, 3260. I do think if the narrative gets a little louder around it, it can get above 3260 and see a move. So I'm trying to just really be with options there. That's one concept. The other concept that people are making some money on is UNG. UNG, I talked somewhere with Liz Clayman in March, saying that I feel like if you accumulate UNG that's been absolutely annihilated, it's going to turn into a really loud narrative over the summer, how natural gas is going to help some of the AI type of energy needs. And it started. So if you were in there already, you made some good money. And I do think it can continue higher. That's, a little bit more of a, of a concept play that you have to go out for. As far as Bitcoin, yes, CCJ, you could play it. There's UUUU. There's a bunch of things you could do with the URA. Verizon. Okay, Ali, I haven't looked at Verizon since my buddy Joe bought it in his long-term account for his brother. It's looking all right. Kind of perked up above the moving averages. I know they have a nice dividend. I know it's been, doing a whole lot of nothing for so long. Like if you look at the weekly chart, I think, or the monthly chart, it's been nothing, broken. What's the weekly chart look like for Verizon? You had to move off the lows. Not much I could say there, except for, hey, there is a chance. And then lastly, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been a little erratic. It hasn't been the easiest to trade. But if that's the way Bitcoin is, sometimes there's a good sequence. Sometimes it's fast and furious, and sometimes they want to, drive everybody a little nuts. But overall, if you look at Bitcoin now, it is getting tight. Okay, just held higher. So at this point, there hasn't been a whole lot of action. Most of the action happened pre-halving. Failed into this 70,000 area, then broke below 59. If you remember, I had a really good trade here, and now it's kind of going sideways. Where I would say, someone's like Red Dog, gun to head. I hate the word gun to head because it's like a bad visual. But hold on, let's get this. So, you do have a bit of a descending. They're like, do I think that Bitcoin is going to take out 72,000 in 2024? So in my note that I do my projections, I said I think it gets to 80 to 100,000 in 2025. I never said 2024. I said give it 2 years, accumulate Bitcoin over time, and chances are you're going to be in good shape. And it's the only one you could really accumulate because it's going to have staying power. All the altcoins are going to come and go. But anyway, I think I would say, if I'm going to do probabilities, I would say there's a good 70, 75% chance that it takes this spot out at some point in this year. Could happen. If not this year, it happens next year. The weekly chart, if you look at, broke this wedge to the downside, but now overall you can kind of, smooth it out a little bit. Now this looks more like a bit of a descending channel here, or just, it's just a little bit bigger. It's taking longer. Look at the size of this move that it's had. Sometimes you get a huge move like this. It needs time to digest. right? I know it's crypto. It's supposed to be moving so fast and furious, but it's getting a little bit more mature. So at this point, you could kind of draw this. This was where it was rejected. I haven't really updated this in a while, but still hanging in there. So to me, as if you're an asset allocator, I said over allocate to Bitcoin to start the year, and that's where we were. Look where we were to start the year. That was a nice over allocation. Same thing for gold and silver. If you trade it for a living and you get paid in May for your P&L of being an IBIT or something like that, then you just kind of have to know that you have to time it better. And at this point, I had a nice little trade here, but it's just getting it's a little sloppy. It's a little sloppy. Sometimes it's consolidating, sometimes it's sloppy. Right now, Bitcoin is a little sloppy, but I think long term, you're going to make money there. Ethereum probably also. All right, CVX and oil. XLE. It's XLE actually is interesting. I guess a lot of people are really, really bullish on this. This was your loose wide candle to get out of the way. Then you had a rising channel that broke to the downside, and then it just kind of bounced back into resistance. There's not a whole lot going on here, to be honest. It's just range trading. I guess you could draw a little bit of a downtrend here after going sideways. Just rallied back into a little bit of resistance. It's always good if you're a balanced investor to have a little bit, energy names on. Let me see what's going on here. So you guys are talking about CVX. What's it doing this morning? It's up a whole 60 cents. What does that chart look like? That chart looks pretty good, actually. Look at this range. Look how choppy crap. That's why I don't really trade energy stocks. Even Oxy with friggin' Buffett. It's like choppy crap. Anyway, I'd rather play things that have continuity, that when they go, they go. They don't do a false breakout like this and come all the way back in. At least this gave you a red dog reversal up here to trade. So I'm not going to be focused there. Bottom line is, we're going to see what happens here. SPYs just worked their way all the way back up towards the high end of the range. We'll see if today turns into a bit of a digestion day, kind of like Friday, where they do reduce a little bit into strength. For me, I want to see, if Nvidia could get above this bull flag at some point this week. I'm going to be trimming my Microsoft. Thank goodness I stayed with that in options. Amazon was a pain in the ass. I'm going to even say it, ass, last week. I was like, Amazon's going to get above 190. Red Dog is going to be so right. It got above 190 for like a New York minute and then got back below it. Third time it's got above an all-time high and didn't have traction. That's a pain in the butt. If you look at it right now, you're like, Red Dog, Amazon looks just fine. It's above the 8-day. It had to move up. It just couldn't sustain this. Maybe, wants to do a little bit better this week. Well, it's still in the game. It still looks good. It still can't be so upset about it. But if you added thinking, hey, like I did, we're going to get above 190 and go to 195, then all of a sudden Friday was crap. Excuse my French. I lost money in Amazon on Friday. And it looks so good. It just goes, sometimes they trade well and sometimes they don't. There was no reason why it couldn't get above 190 and stay above 190. Like, what the hell did it have to come in there for? It happens, Glenn. Doesn't it happen, Glenn? It happens. So you either get over it or you what's the word? You focus on it or you perseverate. I don't even know how to say that word. Instead, let's just get over it and move on and see what happens this week. I did buy some options into the pullback for this week. What did I buy? Just as like a lotto play. I bought the 192 halves just in case I'm not in the mood to trade it after the way it traded like sugar honey iced tea last week, and and then just goes. And sometimes something happens where it just gets you off balance with the name, and you're like, I don't even want to be bothered. And then the stock doesn't remember that you're off balance, and you don't want to be bothered. And then it has the week you thought it was going to have the prior week, and then you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't revisit that. So sometimes instead of being in it and sitting in it, I'll just go with options until it gives me more. Right, Glenn? Anyway, holy cow, it's 6:55. It's Monday. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll see what happens this week. If we're going to get to an all-time high, we need a light PPI and CPI, so we'll see how that goes. There are still some earnings. We're through the heart of earnings season. We do have Baidu and Baba this week. Right now, I'm not in either one. And we'll see if the Chinese, listen, that was also another thesis from the 2024 report, over-allocate into the FXI and KWEB for 2 years, and you'll get out of performance. I was like, the Shanghai and China's going through their 2007, 2008 with real estate, they just had too much money out there and they're bringing it in and rebuilding themselves, and chances are it'll be just fine anyway. Hasta la vista.